Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I am taking a look at Transformers Generations War for Cybertron Earthrise Sunstreaker. And I'm pretty excited about Sunstreaker because this is the first time I've had him in my collection. I grew up on Beast Wars, so G1 was before my time, and I just never had a chance to really own Sunstreaker before. He is, his futuristic-looking Lamborghini. I will say, because this is coming out probably like a couple days after I looked at Tiger Tracks, the one thing that immediately stands out to me is that he has mismatching yellow paint apps, and I was really surprised by this. If we look at them side by side here, I wonder if it's showing up on camera, but in person, this canopy paint compared to this canopy paint, it's very different. The yellow plastic colors are essentially the same. Maybe a slight variation. I feel like it's a case of this yellow paint is a hair lighter and this yellow plastic is a hair duller, and as a result, the contrast between the two seems really obvious. Same thing with back here. You can just very easily at a glance tell which spots are painted and which spots are plastic, whereas here I think it does blend in a little more. I was super curious about looking at these two next to each other because theoretically, this is a Cybertronian Lamborghini, and this is an Earth mode Lamborghini. And I mean, you can see the differences here. I think I prefer the Cybertronian Lamborghini just design. I like the way the slope of the roof kind of is a perfect curve almost, whereas on Sunstreaker here, it is a little bit more angular. I do very much like the proportions of the front piece compared to, I feel like Sunstreaker goes out just a little further and it's a little more symmetrical. I really like the back pieces on both of them. I think the design looks pretty great. They're, if I can get them both on camera here, let's pop the camera up just a wee bit. There we go. They are pretty much the same size, so if you've got Sideswipe and Sunstreaker, then, they're going to look like the brothers that they are in a lot of media. I do really like that this is blue plastic, transparent plastic with silver painted insides. I think that's a really cool effect. I love it every time they do that there. Both rims are painted nicely. I wish there was a little more maybe black paint, but maybe that's just not something that Sunstreaker does. And let's go ahead and get him transformed. One thing I will note is his only accessory is his intakes on the back, which is a little disappointing. This intakes, silver intakes. I wish he came with spoiler pieces. I have seen 3D printed spoilers that I'm probably going to pick up for Sunstreaker. But to get him transformed, first we're going to come in on the back and we're going to open up the rear part of his car mode like so. Then we can come in and these panels here can now be separated out without any trouble. There's a double joint that they can be rotated up on to get some clearance. We can come in at the bottom and this piece of his front windshield can separate out, there we go, from the front of his car mode. Now that those pieces are separated to create additional clearance, there is a double joint on the inside of his leg that can be brought in and up to lengthen out his leg. Same thing on this side, bring it in and up. Now for his feet, we're going to, and this is, I think, is pretty clever. So if we're looking at car mode like this, we can see that's the top of the front of the car. If we flip it, they faked it on the bottom, which I like a lot. So to make his legs, we just take his front of vehicle mode, pull it out, and bend it down. And when we bend it down like so, we can bring that top part right above his windshield, and that forms a nice heel piece like so. Same thing on this side. Bring that down and up. Bring this down, and there we go. There's a flat foot right there. And as we can see, we're almost done transforming him. Next, we can come in and we can rotate. This is a single mushroom peg that goes through two pieces. So we can rotate one piece one way, and that lets us bring up his chest piece. We got to flip out his head first, bring up and lock his chest piece in like so. Now we can take the whole section and rotate it back the other way. And then we've got his chest proper. Last thing is just flip out these hands on both sides. And the instructions do say, and I don't like the look of this, but the instructions do say that his spoiler can become a gun in his hand like so. I think this is kind of loose. It rotates really easily. I prefer just to keep this on his back like a little jetpack. I think that's just fine. But here we have Sunstreaker in robot mode. And again, it's the first time I have had this mold. I'm going to bring the camera up just a little bit. And I'm pretty happy with it. As far as I know, this is a totally new mold that just shares the similar transformation engineering as Wheeljack. And I'm pretty happy with the design. The only real bummer is this paint mismatch. That is a lovely, lovely Sunstreaker head we have up here. That looks really, really nice. Nicely painted eyes. It's got decent articulation. Due to transformation, he can look inside his chest, but he also can waggle pretty well like so. We do have 360 on the shoulders. They can go in and out, and you can get this joint up to get as much as that much movement out of his shoulder before it kind of gets in its own way. You can go either above his head or in front of his head. You can, if you wanted, get a little bit of motion below him so he can get his arms out that far before his shoulder pylon kind of starts bumping into his chest piece. He does have a full 90-degree motion on his bicep. He's got bicep swivel, no problem. Due to transformation, as we saw, he does have that waist swivel, which is super nice. He can fully Van Damme, no problem. And he's got a 90-degree knee bend. His leg can kick up so high and so far back without any issues, as well as the Earthrise War for Cybertron ankle tilts that we have gotten so used to. So he's posable. He's just as posable as any of the other deluxes, and I think mold-wise he looks really good. I do have clamped down his buddies. I've got his buddies already pre-ordered, the 2-pack from the Police Planet or whatever they are. Cordon, is it Cordon and Clamp Down or something? But I think I'll end up giving those away because I'm just excited to have a Sunstreaker in my collection. He is the sort of figure where, like, I think that I can 3D print some add-ons and they'll look just as nice. Getting him his spoilers, getting him a gun. I'm bummed that, I guess, you know, Siege Tiger Tracks really spoiled me, because Siege Tiger Tracks came with like all the accessories of the other figures that he came with, whereas Sunstreaker just having the intakes is a little disappointing. We'll get him next to Siege Tiger Tracks in just a second. And I think the two molds do look great next to each other, whether you've got Sideswipe in red or, you know, both of them rocking yellow here. I'm very happy with Sunstreaker. I think he's a recommendation. I think that unlike the other War for Cybertron figures, he's not the definitive version of that figure. I think the earlier classic Sunstreaker was still a very good mold. I have that mold as Red Alert, and I still really like that mold. And the issues we've got with yellow paint here are just disappointing enough that I wouldn't immediately turn my nose up at another Sunstreaker in a couple of years if we get another version of it. Especially looking how the yellow turned out on Tiger Tracks here. That is disappointing for a Sunstreaker. But other than that, I think he's a super solid Earthrise figure. I think he embodies the line really well, and I'm really glad to finally have him in my collection. So that is it for Sunstreaker here. If you are tuning in for the giveaways, the review video this Saturday will be a 2-pack, and I will for sure be doing a giveaway in that video, so keep an eye out. Other than that, have a great day, everyone, and I'll catch you all later. See ya!